Hello, my name is Daniel Driussi, and this is my preview to my board game. Since this game is under development, I'm going to try to tell you guys where I'm at and where I'd like to go with this game, and where I got this idea from and where I'd like to take it, along with the limited playtesting that I've done. What's the strengths and weaknesses that I have seen in it so far. I got the idea for this board game while playing Go with my brother-in-law. Go is an interesting game, and if you haven't played it so far, I suggest you do. It has a very unique win condition. The condition, unlike chess or checkers, is not to destroy your opponent's pieces, but to capture as much board territory as possible. And I thought that idea was really nifty, except I know armies need resources to function. So what, the motto is, what does an army run on? And it's its stomach. So I thought an idea to take over, to have armies or players take over resources and fight over resources while still defending their bases would be a really cool idea. So what has led to my game idea. So let me go ahead and explain how this game is played and some of the rules. So as you can see, this is the board. It's set up with 4 bases and 5 resources. Players start from the colored bases and slowly move out to capture resources. The more resources you have at once, the more units you can move. Each army consists of 3 suits and 5 values, 1 being the lowest in value, but the highest in number, and 5 as the highest in value, but lowest in number. The suits work like rock, paper, scissors, or Rochambeau. Rock beats scissors, scissors beat paper, paper beats rock. The values of each suit are to prevent a paper versus paper from happening, as a 2 is lower in value than 3, and therefore a paper 3 would defeat a paper 2. But in the case of a rock 1 meeting a rock 1, both units would be destroyed. As of now, the only way to win would be destroy the other opponent's bases. But that could change, and maybe controlling more or all of the other resources would be a different condition for winning. So this is how you play it. Each player draws 5 units from their bone pile. This being the bone pile of all the pieces together, they draw 5 units. And they place it in their hand. As of right now, because I have no assistant, I am putting them on the board. Each piece and then the person who starts first call the rock, paper, scissors, or whoever you decide to go first is the way you go. But when the person who goes first, you have to place pieces from your hand out of your base, going towards resources. You can only place pieces in between the lines, and you can only place as many pieces that you have for how many resources you have. Each time you put a piece down, you have to put or replace that piece or those pieces that you've put down at the end of your turn back into your hand. You don't actually have to show them. This is just, like I said, at the moment because I have no assistance. Once you've placed enough pieces, just as an example, move them all to capture a resource. You would place a controlled tile on the resource to easily represent who controls that resource. And once I have that resource under control, let me get 5 more pieces to my hand out of my bone pile. So there's 5. Since now I have a base and a resource controlled, I can now place 2 pieces at once on the board, branching off. There we go. Branching off, and faster I go to capture more resources or to destroy the enemy bases. Once you play the game more and more, you can actually capture more resources. So if I, as yellow team, have controlled this one, that means I can move 1, 2, 3, and 4 units at a time. That's about it. But you also cannot move more than 5 units per turn, because that's the maximum you can have in hand. And so the more resources you have, that's good, because you want to control as much resources as possible, so you can go and destroy the enemy bases. Like I said, so far, the only win condition I have set up so far is to destroy the enemy bases. I can see that as a problem, but I haven't really run into it so far, because the playtesting we've done, the people who've actually tried to playtest it with me, I haven't really grasped the idea, and their bases were destroyed before they realized what was happening. Let's see. I would like to take this and expand it, because right now you can see the board's kind of small, the pieces are kind of big, and this is a good, like, just test for me. I would really like to take this board and expand it to maybe 4 times the size of this, and also put more resources on the board, so players could have more strategy when it comes to going and the strategy to play the game, to capture resources, and to go destroy the enemies. So that would be a drawback. But along with that, the bigger board, if I make it analog, if I make this board 4 times as big as it currently is, as you can see, it takes up a big chunk of my table. And this is pretty small. Unless I make the pieces much smaller, it would be harder to read the pieces, and therefore to actually see if you're putting down a paper 5 or a paper 1. So it would be hard to read. I think the only real way for me to actually try to turn this as large as I'd like it is to make it digital. Another problem I foresee is while playing Go, there's a condition where if you put down a piece and your opponent puts down a piece that destroys your piece that you just put down, you cannot put down a piece that destroys that piece that he just put down. Confusing? Yeah, it is. So I try to avoid this by allowing players, when they have more resource, you can put down more pieces. So you can avoid that. I put down a piece, you put down a piece, we both destroy each other, go. Go, when playing Go, I think that rule is called Ka. But when that happens, you cannot place pieces like that next to each other. So if this problem does arise, where if you put a piece down or put 3 pieces down trying to destroy the enemy's base or capture a resource, and then your opponent puts down 3, or back and forth, in order to stop that, I think I'd have to create a Ka or a likewise rule saying you can't just do that back and forth, and name it something goofy to match the milieu. Speaking of milieu, I haven't really created anything yet. As you can tell, it's just basic black and white, red, green, yellow, blue, basic colors just to represent the game, because I really think getting the game's mechanics down first are smart, or actually would be the best idea, because you wouldn't want to create a fully animatable, wonderful looking character for a game you're creating and then actually have nothing as a way of programming or level design, or even what type of game you wanted to have first. You'd want to make the program, the engine and everything else first, and then build the character within it once that's all built. So I was thinking maybe hacking, like these are hackers trying to go out from their computers and capture like servers, and more servers you have, the more Ethernet you have, so you can branch out further, something silly like that. So that's my game, and I hope you liked it. I would really enjoy any critiques or any feedback you have for me, because anything right now would be really helpful, because I have some children and my wife helping me playtest this thing, so it's a little bit tough to get some really constructive criticism back, other than it's awesome, or oh, look at this, I don't want to be yellow this time. So anyways, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed my preview.